Hey, where are you right now? I'm at work, at the office. My husband calmly stated this without changing his tone of voice. He's lying. You're right in front of me. To betray me so easily? Well, I have my plans too. By any means necessary, I'll send you straight to hell. My name is Karen, 33 years old. After graduating from college, I got a job at a multinational corporation. A dream come true. Although the pay is decent, the work is tough, and international business trips are commonplace. At this rate, my job might become my lifelong partner. When I turned 29, I started feeling anxious and attended a mixer at an invitation of a friend. That's where I met my husband, Mike. Mike is the same age as me and works a regular 9-to-5 job. Unlike me, he doesn't travel for work and doesn't relocate. Because of that, inevitably, I end up earning more than him. After dating for a year, when the prospect of marriage started becoming more realistic, he said with a look of apprehension, Can I really make you happy as things stand right now? Why would you think that? Because I earn less, right? It's kind of, I don't mind it at all. I'm with you because I love you, Mike. I feel the same way, but are you really okay with me? With a look of uncertainty on his face, Mike looked at me. Even his doubtful expression seemed endearing to me. I looked directly into his eyes and expressed my true feelings. I want you, Mike. It's you I love, not anyone else. Karen, thank you. I want to be with you too. A month later, he officially proposed to me. That fall, we had a beautiful chapel wedding and were blessed by many friends and family. Despite my hectic work schedule, I felt incredibly happy enough to forget all the hardship. Almost 2 years have passed since then. Without any issues, we have been leading a peaceful married life. Considering our age, it's about time we start thinking about having children. That's what I was starting to think one day. When I got home from work, Mike, who should have been home before me, was nowhere to be found. Mike? I peeked into the other rooms, but he was not there. When I checked the front door, I noticed his shoes were missing. I checked my phone, but there were no messages or missed calls. What could have happened? He always comes home before me. If something had happened, he would have messaged me, right? Did something happen to Mike? With a sinking feeling, I quickly dialed his number. Hoping for the best, I held the phone to my ear, and on the third ring, I heard his carefree voice say, Hello? Mike? Are you okay? Okay. What happened? Well, I just got home from work, and you weren't here. There were no messages, so I was worried. Are you okay?
Sorry, I have to work overtime today.
Overtime? You've never done that before, have you? When I asked curiously, Mike mumbled,
Well,
After a brief silence, he answered in a rush.
the truth is, I've been given a big project. Apparently, if the results are good, I might even get promoted. That's why I need to work overtime, even if it's hard.
Promotion? That's great.
Yeah, so I think I'll be working overtime more often from now. But don't worry about me. See ya.
Wait a minute, Mike. But he hung up the phone without responding. Despite his unilateral attitude, I felt happier than anything. So Mike finally has a chance for a promotion. He was always concerned about the difference in our incomes. I hope this gives him some confidence. Of course, I have no complaints about his current salary. At least as long as we both keep working, we won't face any hardships. However, if his income increases, it would bring even more comfort to our lives, especially considering the possibility of children in the future. A promotion for him would be more than welcome. Since that day, he stopped coming home at the usual time. Even his days off became work days, and our time together decreased. When I come home from work, Mike is not there. Even on the rare days off, he's not home. This was lonelier than I had imagined. However, his future promotion is on the line. I wish he would come home early once in a while. I want to spend the day off together, just relaxing. If I prioritized these feelings of mine, it would be a nuisance to him. Considering this, I could not possibly confront him. So I decided to immerse myself more in my work to drown out the loneliness. I also have an overseas business trip planned soon, so I'll work just as hard as he does. After all, even if I go home early, he won't be there. Thinking this, my overtime increased as well. But as the time spent with him decreased, my heart reached its limit. I don't think I can bear it anymore. Knowing that it might be a burden for him, I decided to express my feelings. "Welcome home, Mike. I have something I want to talk about." I said this to my husband when he returned from work that night.
Talk about? Does it have to be today? I'm pretty tired.
Huh? I was taken aback, unable to find words. However, there's no point in giving up here. I continued the conversation without losing heart. "I'm sorry, but it's something I really want to discuss."
Ha! If you have something to say it quickly. I need to sleep early for tomorrow's work.
Tomorrow is Saturday. Are you going in on your day off again? Sometimes you should relax at home.
Enough already. You're nagging. I'm busy, don't you get it? Is it fun for you to bother me?
That's not what I meant.
Please stop bothering me. Don't you realize how crucial this period is for me?
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. His face turned angry, something I had never seen before, which startled me.
I'm tired. I'm going to bed,
he said, and left the room. Left alone, I began to shake uncontrollably out of fear. What on earth just happened? I've never seen Mike like that before. I understand he's busy, but there's no need to speak like that. Though my dissatisfaction was growing internally, I couldn't voice it. We should have been able to resolve this through a proper discussion, as we always have. But I was too afraid to express my true feelings to him at that moment. As the days for my overseas business trip were approaching, I had been working late. On this particular day, I ended up leaving work particularly late and hurried to the train station. Unfortunately, the train was delayed. The chances are slim, but Mike might have gotten home before me. Thinking so, I decided to hail a taxi. "Excuse me, could you take me to this address, please?" I gave the driver the address of my apartment, and the car started moving. During the ride home, I didn't have the energy to look at my phone, so I blankly gazed out at the scenery. Stop the car, please!" Before I knew it, I found myself shouting at the driver. I opened my eyes wide and reconfirmed the scene outside the car window. That's when I saw it. Across the pedestrian walkway, Mike was walking with a woman I didn't recognize. You've got to be kidding me. Mike, why? Weren't you supposed to be busy with work? Why are you here with another woman? Questions about my husband started to flood my mind. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, but the clothes, the height, everything matched Mike. They were blatantly exchanging a kiss on the pedestrian path. Next thing I knew, I had my phone out and was filming them as evidence of his infidelity. They continued walking arm in arm. As I was capturing the entire scene, the driver asked, "Ma'am?" His voice snapped me back to reality, and I quickly stopped recording. When I arrived home, sure enough, Mike wasn't there yet. I called him, wanting to get the truth. Only the ringing sound of the call echoed emptily from my smartphone. After a few attempts, he finally answered.
"Don't keep calling me over and over. You should know I can't answer if I'm not picking up, right?"
"I'm sorry, but there's something I want to ask you."
"I'm working overtime. I'm sorry, but could we talk later?"
"Overtime? You don't mean cheating, do you?"
"What?"
There was a pause. Then I heard his voice filled with anger. After a while, he let out a disgruntled sigh.
"Enough of this. How can you say such a thing to your husband who's tired from work? Forget it. I'm not coming home tonight."
Then he hung up abruptly. Judging by his reaction, it seemed like his affair was confirmed. A strange emotion, neither anger nor sadness, welled up within me. So he was really cheating on me. We have to talk about this. Things can't continue as they are. True to his word, Mike didn't come home that night. From the following day, he'd come home, but there would be no conversation, let alone discussion. In the end, the day of my business trip arrived first. This time, it's a 2-week trip overseas. On the morning of my departure, as I was wondering how to address Mike, he started talking to me first.
Karen, you're leaving for a business trip today, right? Be careful, okay?
Huh? Oh, yes, thank you.
But 2 weeks is such a long time. You often go on these trips, but I still can't get used to it. And it feels lonely.
Lonely? Do you really feel that way?
Of course. We've been awkward around each other recently, right? I want to clear up our misunderstandings. So let's have a nice dinner when you get back.
There's no way things can work out so conveniently. He's just trying to cover up the fact that he's been cheating, spouting nonsense. Anyone with a bit of thought should be able to see through it. But for some reason, I chose to believe his words at the time. I had thought that my love for him had completely cooled off after our strained relationship recently, but it seems I can't truly hate him from the bottom of my heart. Did I mistake what I saw the other day? His smile, which I hadn't seen in a long time, was so endearing that it made me have such an illusion. I simply told him, "Let's have a proper talk when I get back," and left the house. After that, my business finished earlier than expected, so I was able to return home earlier. Since it was a sudden decision, I hopped on a plane back to New York without telling my husband Mike. Initially, I planned to contact him, but then I thought, why not surprise him by returning early, cook dinner, and wait for him? That was the plan. I arrived in New York around 11 a.m. I went straight home, arriving around 1 p.m. It was about a week since I had last returned home. At the moment I opened the door with a sense of relief, my spine froze. What was that? What caught my eye was a pair of light pink pumps placed at the entrance. As I stood frozen, I heard Mike's voice and a woman's voice from the living room. I tiptoed down the hallway, peeking into the living room from behind a corner. They were drinking in their underwear. The woman was the one I had seen that day. With a sweet voice, the woman started to speak. "Hey, Mike. Are you really okay with inviting me over? Isn't it dangerous if your wife finds out?"
Nah, it's fine. She's on a business trip abroad until the day after tomorrow.
Oh, really? That's perfect timing. It's my birthday, and your wife isn't at home.
Exactly. Thanks to that, I can spend time leisurely at home with you, Linda. You're staying over tonight, right?
Oh, my. I love you, Mike. Thank you for the present. Mike's mistress, it seems, is named Linda. The two of them were hugging each other in their drunken state. This has to be a joke. Just because I earn more, why can he do such a thing in the apartment that I rented under my name? While fighting nausea, I recorded the cheating scene with my smartphone. When things settled down, I tiptoed back to the entrance and left the apartment. Sweat poured out, and my heartbeat pounded. Despite the situation, I was still believing in him somewhere. Sweat poured out, and my heartbeat pounded. Despite the situation, I was still believing in him somewhere. I wanted it to be a lie, yet the scene earlier wouldn't leave my mind. I can't continue as his wife anymore. Finally, I decided to resort to my last option. I dialed Mike's number and waited for him to answer. Answering my call with a casual hello, I made sure to speak with an air of urgency. "Hey, where are you right now?"
Huh? I'm at work, of course. What time do you think it is?
"Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry, but it seems like someone's home right now." Not quite grasping the situation, my husband's voice wavered as he stammered.
What?
Speaking to him, who was likely unaware of the reality, I wove in a bit of deception. "So here's the thing. My trip got finished early, and I came back home, and when I got to the front door, I could hear someone talking inside."
You mean to tell me you're standing outside our apartment right now?
He questioned. "Yes, that's right, Mike. What should I do? Should I go inside to check?" I thought I'd lay a trap for him, seeing if he was in the middle of cheating at home. Depending on his response, I hoped we could have a proper discussion and resolve things amicably. However, my expectations were dashed to the ground. In a loud voice, my husband blurted out,
"Could it be a burglar? Get out of there now. Leave that place immediately."
In that moment, any lingering feelings I had for him vanished. "So this is how easily you betray me." rather than admitting or apologizing for the affair. He chose to continue hiding it in such a pathetic way.
For now, just get to somewhere safe,
he insisted before abruptly hanging up. Moments later, I called the police. Hello? Is this the police? I think there's a burglar in my house. I can hear unfamiliar voices. Yes, thank you. As I ended the call and stood waiting, 2 police officers arrived a few minutes later. I repeated the circumstances to them, and we proceeded to my apartment together. When one of the officers rang the doorbell, my husband emerged from the entrance with his eyes wide open.
Well, why are the police here? Are you the resident of this house?
Asked one of the officers.
Yes, I am. We received a report from your wife that there might be a burglar here. A burglar? No, there's no one here.
As he said this, I stepped out from behind the door. Upon seeing me, my husband muttered,
Well, why are you here?
His eyes darting around nervously. I apologized to the officers, saying it must have been a mistake, and sent them on their way. Glancing around inside, I saw no sign of his mistress. I guess he must have rushed her out when I called earlier. Did he still believe I was unaware of the affair? He brazenly accused me.
Why did you call the police? That's so bothersome.
Well, it was you, Mike, who said there was a burglar. Besides, weren't you supposed to be at work? Why are you home? Never mind, just look at this. I pulled out my phone and presented him with a video of him, and his face drained of color as he watched.
This is not what it looks like, Karen. This is...
You're not seriously going to make excuses now, are you?
A
sweat trickled down his forehead. He seemed desperate to say something, yet no apology came forth. Having had enough, I coldly declared, Oh, just drop it. It's painfully clear that you're a jerk who can't even apologize in such a situation. Hey, how does it feel to lie, cheat, and then get caught? Surely you didn't think it won't happen to me, right?
Well, wait, Karen. I get it. I'll apologize.
Huh? Your apologies mean nothing to me now. In fact, they're worth less than nothing. Even if you apologize, I will never forgive you. I'll sue you for emotional distress, and that woman too. I hope you both rot in hell, you jerks. Fueled by anger, I drove Mike out of the house and locked the front door. He made a ruckus outside for a while, but when I continued to ignore him, he eventually left. Later, I got a call from my in-laws telling me that Mike had returned, saying he had nowhere to go. When I explained the situation to them, they were furious and had Mike write and mail the divorce papers for me. Thanks to that, my divorce was finalized without a hitch. The day after, I told my in-laws that the papers had been accepted. They kicked Mike out and apparently cut ties with him. I claimed emotional distress from Mike and the woman he cheated with through my lawyer, insisting on a lump sum payment. The other woman turned out to be Linda, a receptionist at the same company as him. Their affair was quickly made public within the company. Unable to bear it, Linda abruptly left the company. As for Mike, he's enduring the piercing gazes of his colleagues and somehow managing to get through his work. I later found out that his promotion was all a lie, just a tactic to hide his affair. I feel so foolish for being deceived by such a man, but at least I was able to make the decision to divorce. From now on, I intend to devote even more energy to my work and aim for higher positions. I'm determined to prove that marriage isn't the only path to happiness, and I'm ready to do it on my own terms.